Welcome to Hell! Oh wait, you're here because of a paperwork error? Well, that's not good. I'm afraid Hell's a one-way street, but since I'm a demon of principle, I'm gonna let you pick which one from all of the human mythologies you get to end up in. And some are way worse than the others. Choose wisely. Forever is a lot longer than you think. How about we start our tour of desolation on Easy Street? Well, as easy as it gets when you're dealing with Hell. As you know from your brief time in heaven, if you die in battle, the Vikings believed you went to Valhalla. But if you went out like some weenie and got judged unworthy, you'd instead be on a direct route to Helheim, the Viking underworld. So you've probably already heard of at least one version of Hel, the Viking goddess of death in the underworld. Loki gave her her own little section of Niflheim, one of the 9 realms of the Norse cosmos, and let her model it after her own gloomy goth aesthetic. After you died, you would spend 9 days traveling through total darkness to reach Helheim, and at this point, you would reach a bridge passing over an icy river patrolled by Hel's demonic bouncer, a lady named Mogur, who makes sure that nobody who gets in gets out. And believe us, when you see the accommodation, you're gonna wanna get out. You've got 2 options here. One is hanging out with Hel in her own cabin, Eljunder. It is freezing cold, you'll forever go hungry, and Hel, who is absolutely no fun to hang out with, sleeps on a bed that is literally called sickbed. You gotta appreciate her flair for the dramatic even while you're doubled over from the cold, the hunger pangs, and all the disease. But hey, it could be worse. You could be in the even nastier Hell if you were a real turd in life, Nastrond, where the roof is made out of a patchwork of snakes that are perpetually spitting burning venom down onto your skin. And if you ever get bored of that kind of pain, you could enjoy the feathered dragon Needhog sinking its teeth into your flesh and munching away. And the fact that this is the chillest Hell tells you everything you need to know about just how gnarly things are gonna get down here. Not interested in a Helheim timeshare? Ah well, onwards and downwards. How about we take a looky-loo at the bleak world of the Mesopotamian afterlife? We know what you're thinking. Wait, don't you mean Mesopotamian Hell? Well, kind of. But what is so weird and disturbing about how all these folks saw the realm beyond mortality is that everyone went to the same place, no matter how they behaved in life, and that place absolutely sucked to experience. It's known by many names, so we'll just go by Kur for simplicity's sake. After being pronounced dead and having your name taken down, you'd be ready to immediately start suffering. Hungry? Well, I hope you like dry dust because that's all you're allowed to eat here. And if you're thirsty, well, I hope your family was really devoted to you. The only way you get to drink in the afterlife is if your family ritually pours water down a tube into your grave every single day. So for starters, your insides will feel like they're made out of saltine crackers. But if you don't have any relatives to hydrate you, you'll at least have the occasional day release to haunt the living while naked. Don't spend too much time out there or you might find yourself face to face with a terrifying Mesopotamian demon known as a Galu. If the various deities of the underworld want you back down there, it's up to those demons to come and grab you, and believe me, they're a hell of a lot scarier than I am. Let's meet a few, shall we? There's Lamashtu. She's a long fingernailed weirdo whose favorite drink is baby blood. There's Azag, whose presence is so horrible it causes fish to boil alive in water. And of course, the celebrity Galu that you'll be hanging out with is Pazuzu, the demon that possessed the little girl in The Exorcist. I can tell that I'm not selling you on Kur, so how about we move on to something a little more familiar and Hellenistic. Ever heard of Tartarus? This is the part of Hades, the ancient Greek underworld where people who did awful things in life are punished with equally awful punishments tailor-made to their situations. Like our boy Sisyphus, you might have heard of him. He needs to roll a boulder up a hill every day only for it to roll back down and force him to repeat the process the next day. And no matter what Camus tells you that you must believe, trust me, he's not happy. Or what about Prometheus? This titan who stole fire from the gods gets his liver stolen out of his abdomen every day by a hungry bird. And then there's King Tantalus, who chopped up his own son and tried to feed his flesh to the gods. And the Greek pantheon may be a little messed up, but they are not the Mexican pantheon, Tantalus. They don't want to eat your son. For doing such a weird and gross thing, the gods decided that Tantalus's own hunger would never be satisfied. That's why he's spending his eternity submerged up to his neck in water, with fruit on a branch suspended just a couple inches higher than his face could ever reach. Pretty evil, huh? And I cannot oversell how deep into the void this place is. Big Z, that's Zeus, me and him are on nickname terms, himself once said that Tartarus was, quote, as far beneath Hades as heaven is above earth. And for a while, if you tried to get out, you would have Campe to contend with. She's a scorpion-bodied monster with a ring of animal heads around her waist. She's got a whip in one of her pincers to torture the cyclopses and other monsters that are under her thrall. Now what I'm saying here is, your chances of getting out, unless Big Z takes a shine to you, are basically zilch. But what if we moved on from ancient Greece to China and the land of the rising sun for our next abyssal opportunity? This is the nightmarish world of Naraka, the hell realm of Buddhism, as well as Hinduism and Jainism. And it's actually not even the last Chinese hell on this list. We've got an even nastier one coming up. But let's enjoy our stay in Naraka for now. It's not forever, but it sure will feel like it. You've actually got 16 Narakas to choose from, and because Buddhism works on the principle of samsara, that is the endless churn of death, rebirth, reincarnation, and all that jazz, so where you'll end up will all depend on the kind of good or bad karma that you're working on. There are 8 hot Narakas and 8 cold ones, and you'll definitely go to whichever temperature you hate more. But here's a little highlight reel of some of the nastiest stuff that goes on in the Narakas just to wet your whistle. You've been warned. For committing crimes of thought, yeah, you don't even need to do bad stuff to get here, just think it, you might end up in the Tapana Naraka. Here the Hell Wardens will stick you with flaming spears until fire shoots out of your nose and mouth. They might even just beat you up until you're a big old lump of flesh and then throw you into a skillet to fry, because your ultimate suffering is just a fun little cookout to the Hell Wardens. It's even worse for vocal crimes like lying. You might end up in Mahararava, which means the Great Screaming, officially dubbed a minor hell of unbearable pain. A truly fascinating string of words. Here, every lie you've told in life will cause a snake to be born inside of your body. One lie equals one snake. Think of it like that scene in Alien, except that your body is rapidly filling up with millions of snakes, and it will really, really hurt. But even that is a hell of a lot less gross than the part of hell described in the infamous Blood Bowl Sutra, where people are trapped in pools of their own menstrual blood. And those super mean-spirited hell wardens force them to gather up bowls and drink. You won't spend forever in a Naraka, you'll just stick around till your next reincarnation, and you'll be extremely grateful that you won't remember anything from your life before. Still, I get it. It seems just a little old-fashioned. How about a more modern religion, at least comparatively? Islam offers us a fantastic infernal option with Jahannam, a place of ultimate punishment for evildoers in the world beyond. Plenty of Islamic scholars believe that just like the Naraka, it is a temporary place of punishment designed to burn your sins away before you can ascend to a better place. But don't let that get your guard down, because this place will make you pray to be a better person just to avoid it. Just describing some of the things that go on down there sounds a little bit like a BDSM club. Not only would you be constantly burned, but the demons down in Jahannam will keep an eye on you. When your skin gets too crispy, they'll rip it off and replace it with some nice new skin, just so you can experience the burning pain freshly. How considerate. But you won't be naked, that'd be indecent. You're instead wearing clothes made out of burning pitch while you're forced to drink festering waters. And then for fun, when you're not being driven mad by the constant deafening soundtrack of groans and sighs from the other millions suffering with you, you'll have boiling water poured over your head. Well, it's mostly water, a lot of it is also urine and pus. And if you ever think of trying to escape, then iron hooks digging into your flesh will drag you right back to the experience suffering anew. Because you would hate to skimp out on the VIP treatment before the so-called merciless angels have given you a full spiritual education in exactly how far you fell short in life. They'll cut off your lips with scissors. They might take you to a giant hellish tree where the heads of demons hang to go half insane just from looking at it. And if you're a real monster, you might find yourself on the collision course with the bottom level, Zamharir. This is the cold hell, the part of hell that's so nasty even the demons and the jinn are punished here. The blizzards are so harsh that the cold itself feels like fire on your skin. So if you prefer to avoid the cold, then yeah, this hell probably isn't for you. So what about a hell that took some direct cues from it and added extra nasty stuff to the mix? Christians, Catholics, and theater kids, you're gonna absolutely love Dante's hell, described in his 14th century epic poem Inferno. Equal parts scripture and satire, no representation of the Christian hell has ever been the same since Dante debuted his iconic 9 circles. And just because I want you to make an informed decision about where you'll be suffering for the rest of eternity, I'm gonna do a little any percent speed run of all 9 levels. You can tell us down in the comments which of your mortal sins would be the ones to condemn you to an eternity of terrible pain. And don't forget to hit subscribe, because if you don't, you might as well just start practicing for the heat. Okay, first level, Limbo. the dull, sad place that you'll go if you died before you ever found out about Jesus. Second level, lust. You're blown around by a nightmarish eternal storm because you just couldn't keep it in your pants. Third level, gluttony. You were consumed by sloppy mud forever because you never knew when to stop. Fourth level, greed. You'll endlessly be forced to push around big heavy rocks because you took more than you needed. Fifth level, anger, where you'll fight all the other rageaholics while drowning and getting attacked by monsters forever. Sixth level, heresy, where you'll be locked in a flaming coffin forever for rejecting trends in religion and politics. That'll teach you. Seventh level, violence. If you committed violence against others, you'd be trapped in a boiling pit while centaurs fire arrows at you. If you committed violence against yourself, you'll be turned into a tree and ripped apart by harpies. Oh, and you won't even get to resurrect on Judgment Day. And if you committed violence against nature by breaking the natural laws of the Bible, you'll be tormented and forced into a fun range of trials and tribulations across an endless burning desert. Eighth level, fraud. Panderers and seducers are forced in an endless running race by torture demons. Flatterers are forever buried in human poop. Corrupt clergymen get their feet tortured with fire forever. Sorcerers have their heads turned backwards. Corrupt politicians are thrown into lakes of boiling pitch to get poked and prodded by demons forever. Not good enough. Hypocrites walk down an endless track wearing unbearably heavy clothes made out of metal, and thieves get eternally devoured by reptiles in a giant pit. Level 9, treachery. This is considered the ultimate sin where you are forever tormented in the freezing depths. And who is a bigger traitor than Satan himself, who waged war against God and was cast out of heaven? He's trapped in the center of hell, frozen up to his waist in an ice lake. His three faces eternally chomp on history's greatest traitors, Judas, Brutus, and Cassius. And the sub-zero winds of his beating wings keep him and everyone else trapped down there suffering forever. So yeah, pretty fun time, great company. And somehow it still feels pretty chill compared to yet another hell we've got courtesy of China. Seeing as you don't seem to like the idea of hanging out with Satan in his frosty nightmare dungeon, maybe I can interest you in the pleasures and perils of DU. This is the Chinese mythological realm of the dead that is kinda like what if the Narakas took some hardcore steroids and it put them in a really bad mood. By this point, you might be a little sick of hyperbolic descriptions of hell punishments. So instead, how about I just give you the list of names of the hells in DU? You'll quickly get an idea of just how metal this labyrinth of punishment and pain really is. Hell of tongue ripping, hell of scissors, hell of trees of knives, hell of mirrors of retribution, also known as the less classy hell of boiling excrement. And then there's the hell of steamers, hell of copper pillars, hell of the mountain of knives, which somehow has even more knives than the hell of tree of knives. And of course, we can't forget the hell of the mountain of ice, hell of oil cauldrons, hell of pit of cattle, hell of boulder crushing, and the hell of mortars and pestles. We can't forget about the hell of the pool of blood, the hell of the wrongful dead, hell of dismemberment, hell of the mountain of fire perfectly capping off the nasty Hell Mountain trilogy, hell of mills, and my personal favorite, hell of sawing. That's where people who conducted unfair business practices are eternally sawn in half by demons, who then put them back together just to saw them in half again. There is at least one consolation prize. Before you leave to enter your next cycle of reincarnation, you'll be given a tasty bowl of mengpo soup. That'll make you forget all the unimaginable suffering that you endured in DU, so it doesn't put too much of a crimp in your next life. See, it's not all that bad. Oh, but there is one hell worse than this, my lovely little viewer. A hell that we have made just for you. And here's the twist, you're already there. Can't you recognize my true form? That's right, it's me. It's been me all along, and your punishment for your terrible crimes is to watch videos here on the Infographic Show for the rest of eternity. Every U-verses, every 100 days, even all of those meme explanations. So settle in, you're gonna be here forever. Now, what'll be the first video you watch on your eternal hellish infographics binge? Perhaps the origin of evil, the devil, or watch this instead.